All right, 11th graders, let's talk about the resume rubric to ensure that you have a sparkling resume for your end of year tour. There are two different rows. We're going to start talking about the second one. These are prompts that you're going to answer separately and discuss after you share your rubric. So one is connecting the resume to post-secondary goals. Is there evidence that you are learning some of the skills, maybe doing some of the things that relate to your post-secondary goals? And then what is your plan to improve your resume? Everyone can always improve their resume. So that part's pretty self-explanatory. We're going to focus on the first row. I'm going to zoom in first to the requirement that there are 4 different sections, and each of those sections must have some content. So as a junior, we assume that by now you have some experience that you can discuss. The second part is the characteristics. And so we're going to talk about each of these characteristics by using an example that I'm going to pull up here. Actually, before I show you the example, let me show you quickly what it looks like on the resume tab of your end of year tour. So here's the resume tab. The prompts are on the left. There's some more information, including video links. But the upload artifact is the button you're going to press. And in this case here, you're going to maybe select a file from your computer, or it could be Google Drive or a web link. Again, make sure if it's Google Drive or web link, that's shared with anybody in FG schools to see. In this case here, I think I may have a resume sitting around. And notice there, it is a PDF file. So you have to upload a PDF so that way the formatting looks nice and clean. Okay, so that's all you have to do. And at the bottom of the page, just save it before you go, I believe, or that's saving the comments at the bottom. So in this case, my resume is already uploaded. All right, so let's talk about the resume for a second. What I've done, obviously, you're not going to have the kind of rubric language as part of your resume. This is using the format that I gave you in the document that was shared multiple times with you throughout the year on how to make your resume. You can have a slightly different format, but the key is it has to have those sections that we talked about, and those are listed here. The bonus section, if you will, is awards and activities. So you can add that if you have earned any awards or done activities. Now, activities versus experience. Experience usually has more detail, and experience definitely includes employment. Activities would be things at high school, like members of clubs, etc. Let's talk about the characteristics. Is it error-free and have consistent formatting? So this one actually is error-free, and you can see the formatting is nice and consistent. I will compare it to this one here. Now, in this one, the errors you could see, or the formatting difference, excuse me, you can see all caps here, and this is not all caps. We go back to all caps, but not all caps. Spelling mistakes, you can see based on what Grammarly is showing me, there's some spelling mistakes. And so you want to make sure that there are essentially no errors whatsoever in it. The next thing I want to point out here on this one is this has an email, by the way, that's not particularly professional. I talk about this about the seniors a lot, but make sure that you have a professional or at least neutral email that you're going to include in your resume. It should not be your student resume, even as a junior. Strong action verbs. So, what you see here is pretty straightforward, but you want to use strong action verbs. I'll give you some examples later. You don't want to use passive language. You want to be very specific about what you're doing. So babysit, prepare, plan, greeted, washed, dried, took, contributed. These are very specific as to what the person did. The reverse chronological order where appropriate is evident here, and that this particular experience started in September 2014, whereas this one started in 2015, extended to August. This one started in January 2015. Anything that ends in the present is going to be at the top. So the most recent at the top, that's what we mean by reverse chronological order. It's concise and uses phrasing, line and spacing, and font size to be approximately 1 page in length. This one is just at 1 page in length. The way you tell that, if you're not sure, is make sure you're in print layout, and you can find out if you're in 1 page or not. And we say approximately. I truly want it to be 1 page exactly. We can give you a little bit of slack because you're still learning. You may have some extra things in there right now that you're going to get rid of over time, but it should be pretty close to 1 page. You should not have full sentences at all in here. This should be, just phrases that describe things. You should have a font size that is appropriate. So this has 11 point, 12 point, and 10 point. If you have something like in your title that's big, that's going to push you over to 2 pages, well, then make this smaller. So you just want to be smart about that. Margins, these margins are reasonable, not the right-hand side one. The right-hand side one is big. So you could squeeze down the right-hand side margin if you want to. Again, I hope you know how to do that, but that's all happening in file and page setup. And so this right margin I made it a little larger to add those images in there. But the point is you can make these smaller, manipulate it a bit so it fits into one page. And is it print ready or ready to share? Obviously, this one is not. There's actually, I mean, the balance is off there. It's got all kinds of errors in it, formatting errors galore. This one is a nice resume that is quote unquote print ready, and meaning you could print it and hand it to someone, or obviously you could PDF it and email it to someone. So that's really what we're looking for. So back to this, we have some pro tips for you. I've talked about a lot of these already, but watch your tense. So present tense for any current jobs and activities, past tense for past ones. Your spelling and capitalization do count, and so does grammar. But remember, you're not using full sentences. Use phrases, and if you have a bunch of phrases, separate them by a semicolon. It should be about 1 page. No, it does not have to fit in a Post-it note, but it should be about 1 page long, really no longer. And I already talked about how you get there. You should look at your results from UScience because they give you a lot of terms that help describe you, and this may help you along the way. This is a list of strong action verbs. You could just Google strong action verbs, and it will give you a lot of terms that are much more interesting than employed by or something like although the word employed I guess is there, but to me it's like, what did you do when you were employed? Did you service or procure, obtain, which is basically the same thing as obtain? Did you initiate something, etc., etc. And then look at phrasing, like don't say responsible for serving customers. First of all, it's 4 words versus serve customers. Also, this is feeling a little more passive, just active. Serve customers. That's what you did. Let's see, is that it? Almost. If you choose a different template, which you are allowed to do, obviously, but please choose carefully. Choose one that's going to work for you. Don't that based on your experiences and your interests and whatnot. Where's all this info again? You can go to this website, the bit.ly/phs_resume, or click on the I button on the Richer Picture system. That is it. Have a sparkling day and rock that resume, people.